Hey guys, welcome back to Dipswitch Demos. My name is Jackson and today we're going to check out the TEFI Vintage Lab Cornucopia. This is a very unique drive pedal sort of thing. That's the umbrella I'm going to put it under for now. But the reason why it's unique is that it's got a valve inside. In this little window, we have a real 12AX7 tube valve thing. And this is my first experience of a valve-driven pedal. And it's a lot of fun. This is a really great sounding drive. I'm told that it can do preamp sort of stuff as well, so if you wanted to run it into a power amp or even a cab sim thing, this would work great into that. I've only really tried it straight into the front end of my Victory, and it just sounds so good. Probably the most transparent drive sound I've ever heard. It literally just sounds like my amp but gainy. Like, it's almost insane. Like I said, it's got a little 12AX7 in there, regulated by an original JFET circuitry, so it's sort of combining valve sounds with JFET circuitry, and the result is pretty spectacular. Very simple to use control layout. Volume, gain, very self-explanatory, we know what's going on there. Contour, which is slightly different from a standard tone control. It kind of sets the tonal balance between sort of higher frequencies and lower frequencies in a way. So it's doing much more than just adding or rolling off bass. It's kind of fully counterclockwise. It's a much warmer sound, but there is still top end there, and clockwise exactly the same, vice versa. It's a much brighter sound, but there's still a lot of low end. Really setting the center point and balance of your tone. Another very interesting switch here is the bias switch. We can switch between a hard bias or a soft bias. Soft bias is almost kind of how it sounds really. It's a much softer sounding drive sound, much creamier, much better for maybe lower gain tones. And then the hard bias, again, is the exact opposite. Very easy to understand, much more aggressive, almost fuzzy textures, kind of going for more of that hard rock from the 70s sort of tone. That's pretty much all that needs to be said about the tones from the Cornucopia. The looks are pretty ace. I love the little window. You can see the valve inside. It kind of glows yellow when the pedal turns on. Again, the graphic is really nice and unique, just like the JJ that I tried before. But again, a super high quality finish. The pictures do not do these TEFI pedals justice. This is a much broader discussion point when it comes to valve pedals, but it's worth mentioning in this video. Blah, blah, blah. So I guess one of the reasons why valve pedals aren't as popular as they should be maybe is the power issue, or the power thing to consider. If you're alright with it, then it's not an issue at all, but it's definitely something to consider. This pedal is a very hungry boy when it comes to power. It is a 12 volts AC, and it takes 1 amp. So it's very hungry when it comes to power. So for this reason, I think this pedal is a much more useful tool if you're going to be using it in a studio setting. When I had it on my desk when I was recording that intro song, it worked really, really nicely. But having it on a pedal board, you'd have to consider that. Or maybe you have a power supply that can handle it. I'm not going to take that away from this pedal though. The tones really speak for themselves when it comes to this guy. That really does sound like valvey. In a way, I know a lot of pedals try and go for that sound, sort of a valvey tone, but this just gets it straight out of the box. And, you know, what more could you want? If you want that tone, here it is. Let's get some tones with this guy. I'm going to use my Music Man Cutlass straight into the front end, going into this pedal, and then straight into the front end of my Victory. Amp is set up pretty clean, but also dry, no reverb. All the reverb you're hearing is coming from the Boss Waza tube amp expander, which is emulating a 212 cab mic'd up with a ribbon and an SM57. Going into my Universal Audio Apollo Solo interface, which has also got like a nice mic pre on there as well to warm things up, and also a little bit of room reflection going on as well, so you headphone users aren't getting such a dry sound. This video is sponsored by TEFI Vintage Lab, but they have not paid me to say anything in particular. All the opinions are my own. I really have, promise you, I really have loved the tones coming from this pedal, but also there are a few things to consider when it comes to powering it. Enough of that, let's get some tones. Thanks guys for checking out the video. If you like what you saw, please subscribe and maybe check out some more. Also, if you want to support me and the channel a bit more, there's a few links down below that you might want to check out. Patreon, PayPal, Bandcamp as well if you're interested. Really, really appreciate it. Thanks guys, and I will see you in the next one.